Hi, and thanks for coming to watch this video from Carolina Varsity. We're looking at the 2016 NCHSAA playoffs, and we're in the 4A playoffs, and we're going to take a look now at a matchup of West Mecklenburg and Page.
All right, so your unsung heroes for West Meck is big lineman Zaire Jasper. He plays both sides of the ball, does a real good job in pass protection, and takes up the blockers on that D-line for West Meck. For Page, it's defensive back Tremaine Cusar. I mentioned him last week briefly, but he's a very good player. Plays corner and safety, and really does a good job in coverage. So you look at West Meck, man. They're banged up, they're beat up. They're going to travel up the Page. This game is at Greensboro Page. And the winner of this game is going to play the winner of Lake Norman West Forsyth next week. Last week, West Meck defeated Mooresville, while Page defeated Olympic. West Meck, the defense played better last week. They slowed the run down against Mooresville. And then Page's running back star Javon Leak is questionable with an ankle injury. So the secondary's got to be ready for a tougher test. Will Jones can really throw the football, and he has some nice receivers that he can hit. For West Meck offensively, they can't have turnovers, and they got to hit on the big plays when they present themselves because you're going to need every point. And Page is a hostile environment to play in. For Page, big story, got shut down West Meck on offense. But the question is, have they seen a spread team that runs this type of thing like West Meck does with that type of speed? You look at the schedule, they haven't. So it's going to be an interesting matchup here to see how they can adjust to the things West Meck does that they haven't seen all season long. Offensively, they got to find someone else to step up and run the football if Leak's not able to play. And that offensive line is going to have to protect Will Jones, and they got to throw it more so than they usually do.
Yeah, and one of the things that just kind of stood out in what you just said there was in the West Mecca Mooresville game last week. Actually, Mooresville got a fair amount of rushing yards. They just didn't convert. I was looking at stats earlier, and West did a very good job of keeping them from being able to convert all that yardage into scores.
Gotcha.
Almost, it looked like, just from looking at stats, a near bend, but not break type situation. West is very beat up.
Yeah.
These two schools have only met twice, and the last time they met was in the 1990 playoffs. Page won at 23-3, and the first time that they met was in the 1988 playoffs and beat an undefeated West Mecklenburg team 10-7. So these two schools have not faced each other very often. This is, I think, when you look at the results from last week, they played a very sloppy game. Page did, and that was partly because of the sloppiness and undiscipline of the Olympic team.
Gotcha.
There was a lot of just ugliness in the ball game. I don't think you're going to see quite that this week because I think West is a little bit more disciplined team. Just some things for you West Mecklenburg people. Some really amazing stats. I personally think Richard Latimer's at 3,194 yards on the season. His QB rating is a 121. That's very high QB rating. Very, very good quarterback.
Yeah, he is.
De'Ami Brown, number 2. That's your top player. He had a good game last week against Mooresville, and I do understand that he was hurt in that ball game. But then, as I looked at stats and highlights, he did play late in the ball game and scored late in the ball game. So
that's good news.
The question is Jones, number 6.
Yeah, running back.
He did not play last week, and I don't know why. I was not aware of that situation. No one has told me if he's injured and out for the season, or was it like a concussion from the Harding game, and he missed last week. He's their top rusher, and West is not a big rushing team, but he's got nearly 800 yards on the season. So he's one of their go-to guys. He's also a guy that they throw to. So be an interesting ball game. I think the report is calling a Page 40-28 win.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a lot closer than that.
I think so too.
And especially if Leak is.
He's obviously a big part of what they do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, great ball game. Another Charlotte team going up to Greensboro. I think this will be last week's ball game was fairly competitive for a while for Page, which kind of makes you go, huh? West had a competitive game with Olympic. They won. The game was more competitive than what some of us thought it would be.
Yeah,
So
I'm sure it was.
you're going to see something similar. This is they were beat up when they played them in Olympic, and they're still beat up. All right, well, come tell us what you think, especially Page people. We'd like to hear more about your team. Thanks for watching.